Hi, guys. I hope you had an awesome spring break. Today we're going to start on 10.1, but I just want to real quick go over a couple things in Google Classroom before I start with that. First thing is when you come into your Math Google Classroom, you've noticed that I've set it up a little differently the week before break and now. So the message right here is basically telling you to go ahead and open up the assignment. And when you open that up, you're going to come to a Google slide, which gives you what you need to complete. Okay. Some days everything will be required. Some days I'll put some optional things on there. Everything that's listed as required, you need to do. Okay. So I noticed some of you just completed the chapter 10 show what you know today and just clicked turn in without even completing the chapter 10 vocabulary activity. So you needed to fill that in the chapter 10 vocabulary chart attached in Google Classroom. So you can't turn it in until you complete all of those. So the third requirement was to click on mark as done. Some of you said that said turn in instead of mark as done. I think maybe because this activity was on there, the wording was changed. So as far as the chapter 10 vocabulary went, most of you saw my comments back if you missed some of the directions. So if I go ahead and click on this, you'll see that it opens up, and it should be opening up. And the first thing that you want to do is read the directions that are at the top. It says use the vocabulary cards after page 584 in your book to help you complete the chart below and the chart on the next slide. The first one is done for you. There are 7 additional vocabulary words. So some of you only completed the first 3 vocabulary words. So please, please, please make sure you're reading the directions everywhere. I'm trying my best to make them clear for you. And if you have any questions, please ask, okay? So if you did not either complete it or go back and fix it after I graded your assignment from yesterday, please go back and make sure that you define and give examples for the other 4 vocabulary words if you skipped them. So 2 slides, 7 vocabulary words, just like the directions say. All right, awesome. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start on 10.1. So 10.1 is comparing, contrasting, and converting customary units of length. Okay, so customary measurement are those measurements that we use in the United States. So the rest of the world doesn't use the same measurements that we do. The rest of the world, or most of the rest of the world, uses the metric system. The United States uses customary units of length. So that's when we're talking feet, inches, yard, miles, feet, yard, miles, and inches. Yes. Okay. So we're going to talk about how we convert them. You can use this conversion chart here. Okay. You have it in your textbook. I also posted it on Google Classroom as a separate PDF for you. Okay, you may use it. When you do the PMT, you may use it. So open it in your textbook or open it in another tab on your computer and reference back to it. Some of these you know. You guys know that there are 12 inches in a foot. Most of you remember that there are 3 feet in a yard. Picture that yardstick that we have in our classroom and 3 rulers fitting into it. Each ruler is a foot. Some of you may not remember that there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Okay, so some of you told me that you biked some miles over spring break. Some of you told me that you ran some miles over spring break. Maybe go ahead and try and figure out how many feet you actually ran or biked. And then we also have a conversion for miles to yards. So there are 1,760 yards in a mile. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to find out how to convert them. All right. The distance between the new high school and the football field is 2 miles. How does this distance compare to 10,000 feet? Okay, so we're comparing there. They want to know, what does that have? Is that greater? Is that a greater distance or a lesser distance than 10,000 feet? Okay. When you convert larger units to smaller units, you need to multiply, because we're converting miles to feet, because we can't compare miles to feet. We need to compare miles to miles or feet to feet. So we know that the high school football field is 2 miles from the school. And we want to compare that to 10,000 feet. So we're talking miles and feet. We need to have the same unit. So to convert 2 miles to feet, we need to think, are we going larger units to smaller units, or are we going smaller units to larger units? We're going from miles to feet, so we're going from larger to smaller, larger to smaller. So larger to smaller, we multiply. Okay, larger to smaller, we multiply. So I need to multiply the total number of miles by, and this is where I need to go ahead and look in my chart. How many feet are in a mile? 5,280 feet. So I need to multiply the total miles, 2, times the number of feet in a mile, 5,280. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come up with 10,560. So I multiplied 5,280 by 2 to get the 10,560. Okay, so 2 miles is equal to 10,560 feet. Think about it. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So 2 miles is double that, 10,560. All right, so now we need to compare them because that's what the question asked us. How does the distance compare to 10,000 feet? So we have 10,560 feet. 10,560 feet is greater than or less than 10,000 feet? It's greater than, right? So since 10,560 is greater than 10,000, the distance between the new high school and the football field is longer. So the distance is longer than 10,000 feet. They asked how the distance compared. The distance of 2 miles is longer than 10,000 feet. Biggest things to remember. Can't compare miles to feet. You have to compare miles to miles or feet to feet. So we need to go ahead and we need to convert them based on what the question's asking us. How does the distance compare to feet? So we need to convert to feet. All right, let me go ahead and clear this. All right, example number 2, convert to mixed measures. Mixed measures use more than one unit of measurement. You can convert a single unit of measurement to mixed measurements. So convert 62 inches into feet and inches. Use the table. So we can go ahead, again, you can use that conversion chart. You can use that table to help you, okay? Don't expect you to have all of these memorized. The feet to inches, the feet to yards, those you guys should know. And you may learn these over time, but you can use that chart, all right? 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. I'm changing from smaller to larger, so what do? I divide, okay? Smaller to larger, I divide. So larger to smaller, I multiplied. And from smaller to larger, I divide. So if I have 62 inches, divided by how many inches are in 1 foot? 12. So 62 divided by 12. We know that 12 times 5 is 60, right? We know our 12 times tables. So, sorry, I just made a little mistake here. We know that 12 times 5 is 60. So we have 5, remainder 2, right? That's our division there. 5 feet, and our remainder is how many inches? 2 out of 12 inches. So 62 inches is equal to 5 feet, 2 inches. Remember, you have to think about what that remainder means when we're dividing. In this case, it means that we have 5 full feet, right? 5 full feet, and then 2 extra inches. So 62 inches is 5 feet, 2 inches. 5 feet, 2 inches. Okay, so just a quick recap on what you're going to need for this lesson. You need to remember that if you are going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, you're multiplying. And if you're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, you're dividing. So miles to feet, larger to smaller, we multiplied. Inches to feet, inches are smaller, feet are larger, we divided, okay? I wanna show you one more thing on the next page, but I want to go ahead and just erase this little text here because I want to keep that up. Remember, you can use that conversion chart to help you. You are allowed to use it. I don't mind. All right, let's go on to the next page. I just real quick want to go over how we compare. Remember, you have to have the same units. So example here, 8 feet is greater than, less than, or equal to 3 yards. I have feet and yards. So I either need to make this into yards or I need to make this into feet. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make 3 yards into feet. So the first thing I'm going to think is I'm going from smaller to larger or larger to smaller. I'm going from yards to feet, which means I'm going from larger to smaller, which means I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply or divide. Larger to smaller. I want to know how many feet are in 3 yards. I'm going to multiply, right? So I know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply that by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. So I know that there are 9 feet in 3 yards because there's 3 feet in 1 yard, 6 feet in 2 yards, and 9 feet in 3 yards. So I know that 9 feet is greater than 8 feet. I'm comparing feet to feet. Okay? So biggest things to remember, am I multiplying or dividing? Am I going from smaller to larger or larger to smaller? I need to compare the same units if I'm comparing, and I can use that chart. All right. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm here. You can message me on Google Classroom. You can send me a private comment if you don't want the whole class to see it. I can Zoom to help you if you need that. Please reach out. I'm here. All right. Have a great day.